If I was stuck in an elevator with the president, which I'm assuming we're talking about Craig Kallman, it'd eventually roll into some kind of conversation. Of course, it'd be awkward at first, but maybe I discovered that he's into vinyl records, and I actually really love talking about records. It was one of my dreams and aspirations to release a record one day, and I actually did before I came to college, and it was super amazing. So I'd probably talk a lot about records. I personally like collecting city pop, and so I'd be interested on what he thinks about the resurgence of city pop records, and especially now the resurgence of vinyl in general. And I'd have a really fun conversation. But more on the personal side, since I'm a young creative and the position I want to be later in my life is giving back to the community in Hawaii, because I moved to New York since there was a lack of creative and musical resources for young people like me. When I started getting more and more into jazz, they finally released a program, the HYS, which is the U Symphony. They released a jazz program, and that really helped elevated my musicality. And it was the first year that they ever released that, and I believe it's been 6 years now they've been doing the program, so it's still relatively young. And there are a lot of people who have tried to create a music program for kids, and every couple years it somehow gets shut down because of funding. The museum had a jazz program free for kids, and it's not happening anymore, and I was volunteering and a part of it. And there's also this other organization called Vivi Stop, which is a creative hub for young kids. So they do sewing, fashion, music, breakdancing, and they have mentors and people to help the kids learn more about creative opportunities that the kids want to do. And they recently lost their sponsor, so the later part in my life where I want to be is trying to figure out a way to keep a steady educational creative hub for young children in Hawaii, because I would have wanted that when I was young. And so I'd probably talk about ask what are the steps I need to do, or how can I participate and be an influence aside from just like trying to find people to donate. I really want to make it well known and have it be something that's important in Hawaii, because life is really, people know it as relaxing and vacation like. And I want to make it important that there are kids like me that kids meaning when I was a kid, people out there that want to do creative things and they need our help. And I also want to be a mentor for this type of program and to help influence and give it my experience, especially someone who grew up in Hawaii. Because the thing is, a lot of people don't go back, they rise up in the industry and they don't come back and help the younger generation. Most of the time, it's someone who is outside of Hawaii, who didn't grow up in Hawaii, coming back and teaching. And especially my mentors, luckily, they grew up in Hawaii and left for a certain period of time until they came back. But my teachers are not going to live forever, and I feel like it's my responsibility to help the younger generation. And so I'd also ask about the current changing music industry, and how do we get the lens and angle to try to get an advantage. Like, sorry, I'm talking so vaguely, but right now the music industry, because I feel like as a creative I have to do everything, like learning how to do social media, making music, socializing. It's a lot of things where ideally I just want to focus on production. I just want to focus on one thing. So I'd probably ask about how someone young as well, like me as well, how do I take an angle at the music industry where I can just hone in on my strengths because, I have a lot of weaknesses, and I feel like I have to try to work on those weaknesses when I can barely work on my strengths. Um, and this records and talking about being a young creative in the current music industry would probably be a very, very long conversation. Probably there would be more to cover by the time the elevator opens up. Thank you so much for your time.